Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to offer dana, then please do go to justthiszen.org/giving. Your support really does make a huge difference. Thank you so much.
So lovely to see people arriving in. It's like a sort of wave, a most delicious wave of people arriving and connection. So as we sit here together, let's just start with our settling into ourselves wherever you are, whatever time zone you're in, kind of whatever state you're in, really. And just letting yourself find your body sitting on the seat. And we'll just sit together for 10 minutes. Let's take the opportunity to say together, even if we can't hear each other, the robe, the vast. Vast is the robe of liberation. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. Wearing the universal teaching, I realize the one true nature, thus harmonizing all being. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. Wearing the universal teaching, I realize the one true nature, thus harmonizing all being. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. Wearing the universal teaching, I realize the one true nature, thus harmonizing all being. There's something about being invited to sit in this seat that feels like such an opportunity for gratitude, and seeing people come in and people that I only know as very small, little two-dimensional people, but it still feels like a connection. And I'm so grateful for people's kind of sincere effort in taking the time to come here. And I wanted to thank Flint, both as my teacher for many years, but also for that really deep invitation last week to the question, what does your practice mean to you? What does it mean to me? And I've been really pondering that question throughout my whole practice. What am I doing here? Why am I doing this? And those who've known me for a long time know that I've often been a reluctant student, if not a grumpy one. So to be in this place and reflecting on what does my practice mean to me? And I was particularly struck by Suzuki Roshi's words that Flint quoted. If we do our best, it's already an expression of enlightenment. Enlightenment is not the end of the road. It is in our effort to have this difficult time and stay with it. Your best effort is the path. There isn't anything separate from your effort. Your effort and the path are exactly one and the same all the time. And there's something about that idea that we're not following someone else's path, that the way is the path that we make, one stumbling, grumpy foot in front of another, or one ecstatic and delighted, whatever it is. That path is the one that we're actually following. And that really kind of stayed with me. And also, whenever I prepare a talk for something like this, the words of that the head student says in their completion ceremony, I think when I said them during my completion ceremony, they felt a little bit like a get out clause, like, I'm sorry. But now I have a real sense of actually we'll do our best. This is what I can offer. This is what I can offer. And I really hope not to mislead you. The words, if you don't know them, if you haven't heard them, are, I am deeply grateful for all of your help, but I have not been worthy of it. Please forgive my mistakes. They fill heaven and earth and leave no place to hide. Friends, if my actions and words have misled you, please wash your ears in the pure sound of the present and continue with your practice. Avowing my limitations, I will continue to practice diligently. Thank you very much. So there's something deeply reassuring to know that there's 2,000 years of these words being shared. There's so much practice. And there's also your own present experience to keep coming round and leaning into, trusting, having faith in your own experience. And lately, when I've been asked to say something or invited to say something, and my little inside joke is therefore spare the cats, which is say something or the cat gets it. And I've noticed that there's a sort of tickle somewhere in my awareness, and I'm learning to pay attention to it, as it feels like it's not so much quite what I want to say, but more something less personal, something like what wants to be said. And then this personal me, this very personal me with my own history and experience, can find some way of trying to say, with all the mistakes that'll come along with it, to say what's trying to be said. And this is a kind of edge, you know, my practice edge in exploring and sharing this particular kind of exploration with you. And as part of this adventure in sharing, I was trying to track down where I'd heard a particular story about Suzuki Roshi, which had lodged deeply in my kind of consciousness, and it stayed with me for a long time. And the way the story is in my recollection is that a group of students and Suzuki Roshi were, I think, at Tassajara or Green Gulch, and the making of the actual environments. And they were moving some heavy rocks, I think, to create a stream or a gully or something out in the heat. And this small, older, wiry man kept outlasting the students who were, you know, strapping, muscular Americans and, you know, doing lots of work. But he kept going. And someone said to him, in my mind, the story goes, how did he do that? And he said, according to my mind, I rest in every moment. I rest in every moment. And being a white, older age person rooted in ideas about well-being and resourcing and all of those sorts of things, I really landed hard on the word resting. That's what I heard. That's what my confirmation bias kind of got in there, resting. And I heard that and I focused on that, the bit about resting, and that's our job, our task, our practice is to rest, to let go. And then one morning recently in my shower, excuse the personal detail, I had a really different relationship to this phrase. And what happened in my body, and it was resting in every moment. But it's not about resting as I would understand it. It's not about chilling in front of Netflix. It's about the moment. And it was that, the part that he'd said, each moment really kind of moved into a different focus. And as the water poured sort of over me, I felt like my whole being was present in that moment. Water and soap and shower and my bathroom and all of my history, all of that delusion and all of that experience was all exactly there in the same moment, totally across space and time. And that moment is precisely here and it's always timeless. And that was a different way of experiencing that story. I did find another rock story, which I have to say delighted me, which was from Zen is Right Here. And the story again involves rocks and Suzuki Roshi. And there was a big boulder in Tassajara Creek that Suzuki Roshi said he wanted for his rock garden. And every day, 4 or 5 people went down to the creek during the silent work and struggled to move the boulder by all sorts of means. Each one of us, it says in the writing, each one of us was secure in the knowledge that somehow we were going to move that stone to his rock garden, which was quite a distance away. After a week, the rock hadn't budged, but no one was about to break the silence or give up. One day, Suzuki Roshi came down to the creek and struggled along with us. Some visitors called down from the bridge to ask what they were doing, and Suzuki Roshi called up, "We don't know." And there's something so gorgeous about that story, about here we are, all making our best effort, trying to make the rocks in our life move. And we don't know, we don't quite know. So I was still trying to track down the origin of this original story, that resting in every moment. And so I was going down various sort of rabbit holes. And thanks to Google and the miracle of the incredibly sort of compressed knowledge that we have sitting in these pieces of metal on our laps, I came across a video of the early days at Green Gulch in 1968. And it was just a random visual sampling of the land, the chickens, the fences. And it was a collection of youngish people, all looking for all the world like they'd just left Woodstock, in dungarees and sandals. And there were children running around, and there was babies in backpacks, all standing around and working, sort of milling around and doing all of the things that they were doing to make the new place a temple, a place of practice. And I was there. Well, of course, I wasn't actually there, but in 1971, I was in a Welsh valley milling around with others, also with long hair and dungarees and sandals, building a temple, an old farmhouse with cats and chickens and cows. And I realized in that moment of seeing those people there at Green Gulch, that they would be having all the same kinds of experiences that I was having. The randomness, moments of beauty, boredom, disconnection, absolute sacredness, confusion, irritation, delight. That the place I was in then was no different from the place they were in then. They were all activities of the Buddha, all activities of the way. And despite my best efforts at maintaining a narrative that I'd missed out, been on the wrong path, studying with the wrong teacher, for a moment I couldn't hold on to that. We were all exactly where we were, all together in all moments of time. And many years ago, Flint said to me, all the Buddhas across space and time are waiting for you. And again, there was one of those shifts of perspective. And in this moment under the blessed water, I realized that the previous quote about resting, it wasn't about them waiting, hanging about. Oh, when's she going to get it? It wasn't about that. It was more like the salt ocean receiving the rain, something becoming what it always is. We are always, and in every moment and every time, an expression of Buddha nature. So my rabbit holing, which is delightful, took me down to a talk by Linda Gallagher in 2014 called The Miracle at Tassajara Creek. And she quoted Shahako Okumura in his commentary on the Genjo Koan. When we make this place our very own, our practice becomes the actualization of reality. When we make this path our own, our activity naturally becomes actualized reality. This path, This place is neither big nor small, neither self nor others. It has not existed before this moment, nor has it come into existence now. Therefore, the reality of all things is thus. The actualization of reality is not a concept or a philosophical idea. It is an actual practice using the body and mind that are connected with the entire world. A body and mind that are connected with the entire world. And for me, I've lived in a world informed by fantasy and science fiction, speculative fiction, in the expectation and sincere, really, honestly, sincere hope of magic and otherness sweeping me away to relieve me both of my suffering and my mundaneness. Surely, dear God, surely there must be more than this. Linda Galligan went on to say, a lot of times we think that realization is something that we will feel, where we will feel a particular way, seeing light or a sensory special experience, visions or sounds or flowers raining down from the sky. Some think there must be some way of recognizing that this is realization. But it is our actual practice, realizing, making real what we are doing. Making real what we are doing. And that way of putting it, once again, had me kind of shocked. It's like I'd never thought of realization as the simpleness of making real what we are doing. She said, although having no beginning or end and permeating all time and space, this path exists only in this very moment right now. Before I began walking this path, absolutely no path existed for me. And yet the path did not simply come into being whether I walk it or not. Bodhisattvas have been walking the path from ancient times. So when we walk the path, when we participate, the path, however we're feeling in that moment, we're walking the Bodhisattva path. So there I was, 50 years ago, feeling a fraud, desperate, sad, elated, ecstatic, lonely, flirting, confused, walking the path as much as I was in the shower, revisiting, resting in every moment, this moment that's always here. And then I was letting this move in me. I was talking with someone about this kind of my coming sharing, someone whose practice I trust. And I asked what they thought and experienced about this. And they talked about place and how you interact with place and become place. And the place is informed by you being in it. There is no way of being separate from the place that you're in. And I recalled a beautiful art installation by a land artist called Rob Mulholland. I live on Lancaster, which is on a huge bay, quite close to the sea, and it was on this local promontory. And the installation was called Settlement, and it was a temporary installation on a piece of land that overlooks this great sweep of Morecambe Bay, which has been home to communities since Neolithic times, whole peoples coming and going, Neolithic people, Bronze Age people, Vikings, Romans, they've all been living on this land at various points and then gone. And the installation was made of mirrored silhouettes of people and simple shelters. And the silhouettes appeared and disappeared against the shifting clouds and the grasses. And they were there and not there. And I thought about them always being there, still there and not there. So I just wanted to take a moment to share with you some of these images. And maybe you can get a feeling of So there's one person, a mirrored image, looking out across the vastness of the bay. And this image, I don't know if you can see it clearly enough. There are people reflected in it. And it's like they're caught, there's people doing things, there's a stillness, and it's all happening right there in that moment. And then in this image, I was so caught by seeing myself inside this silhouette, echoing back with all the people in the background. And I was thinking about all the lives that had crossed this path, all the lives that had disturbed the grass, the living and dying that had taken place on it. All there, all exactly there in that moment. So it was a great connection for me with that sense of time and what happens to us with time. So I was really struck by those echoing images. And when we're fully in this moment, that is realization. And when practice is just something we do, that is the thusness of life. That's the life we're actually living right now, not some other time and place. And there's another bit which you may have heard me quote because it's just so dear to me, is Lao Tzu said, always we hope someone else has the answer. Some other place will be better, and some other time it will all turn out. This is it. No one else has the answer. No other place will be better. And it already has turned out. The magic is the miracle of our own lived lives, beyond the scope of our limited minds. We live it in our bodies, in our actions, in our relationships. We are time in motion, moving through the endlessly unfolding now. Suzuki Roshi said, do not suppose that what you realize becomes your knowledge and is grasped by your consciousness. Although actualized immediately, the inconceivable may not be distinctly apparent. You know, there might not be a shower of flowers. Its appearance is beyond your knowledge. It's not something you can grasp with your mind. It's something you live with your body. Suzuki Roshi also said, nothing happening is a very good day. Day by day, nothing happens. Our daily life is very ordinary, and that's the miracle. Miracles are the daily activities of Buddhas. This is our miraculous activity. Miracles are nothing other than fetching water and carrying firewood. Fetching water means to draw and carry water. It's not a symbolic thing. It means to do the thing. Nothing happening is very good. Day by day, nothing happens. Our daily life is very ordinary, and that's the miracle. Maybe our task is to stop thinking we are the center of the world and just to be the center of the world. Thank you very much. If anybody would like to come and join me in exploration, I can't tell you how delighted I'd be.
We have Claudine.
Mm-hmm.
I was very moved by your talk and had a look on all my life in a certain way. And when I was young, I sometimes I came to the present moment. It was so frightening. I felt like a stone lost in the space, absolutely alone, and I was really very anxious. And I realized the gift of the practice, the gift of the Buddhism for me. Now, if I am in the present moment and resting in it, I feel the path under my feet. And what I love so much, when I thought of that I would come in front and speak about that, I said, well, but then are you considering the past as a goal? And I thought, no, it's not. And I was very relieved to feel that in my body. No, just to belong and not to be afraid anymore. There is such a deep meaning, but no goal. Goal. It's difficult to explain in English, but
Oh, you're doing brilliantly.
it's such a richness. You know what I mean. It's, well, I was happy I could share that with you.
I can feel your joy and the treasure of feeling that belonging and not being lost in the immensity, and the fact that your practice has created a container that's big enough to hold you,
Yeah.
big enough to hold that enormousness. And I'm really touched you shared that.
Yeah. It came to me from your talk directly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello, Judith.
Thank you so much for your talk today. It was, I have goosebumps right now. It was so comforting and encouraging. I've just experienced a death in the family, and it's the first in my generation, in my immediate family. And being here with you today has dissipated the anxiety and I don't know any other word for it, but anxiety. And I'm so grateful that I was here, that I joined the group, and I'm grateful for your words. Thank you very, very much.
It offers encouragement. It feels like I have been the beneficiary of such encouragement. To hand even a little on is a lovely thing. So I'm sorry for your loss, and I hope that you continue to find ways to feel held and to manage all that arises out of that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Trudy. This was a very beautiful share from you. I was trying to think of the word that worked for it, and it was nourishing. It just felt like that the whole way through. It was gentle and accepting of us, and especially the way you started. Sometimes when I speak, it's not as graceful as other times, and sometimes it's rather embarrassing. So just to hear the acceptance that comes with this is part of it, and we're making the path. And as we do that, yeah, we trip on some of the rocks sometimes. And at the same time, other people see that. And when we just go on, then they can see a way to do it too. So when I watch someone like you that's very practiced, and hear how you do it, then it's like instruction, and it's like walking with, even though we're not personally together. It's like that. So it was just beautiful, and I wanted to say thank you.
Oh, thank you. And I can hear what feels to me like a deep intention to practice and to benefit all beings, and that's It's like that's the feeling, isn't it? It's like that's what we want for our practices,
Mhm.
is to support others.
Yes.
So it does that, then I'm really glad you were here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
Glad
you.
to be here.
Hi, John.
Hello, and thank you so much. I want to bring in some of what other people have said and say that, yes, that. And what I want to say, sort of, well, what I feel is that a koan has grabbed me, and I'm feeling, how to be with this, and the koan seems to be this. You saying, a little tickle arises in my awareness when you're looking for a talk, or when you're holding when a talk is mulling. And I'm purposely avoiding words which involve doing and thinking and such like. And Suzuki Roshi, I rest in every moment, and nothing happens is a very good day. And for myself in my life at the moment, for a long time, I have been practicing in various ways, practicing not doing or non-doing and allowing. And particularly right now at the moment, I feel I'm moving into a deeper phase of that. And I had an experience recently where I thought I was being all very spacious and allowing. And it was actually when I lost focus and started looking out the window that something happened. And so the koan for me is, no, I'll say something else first. Doing, I do everyday things. I cook, wash up, and I can rest into that at times. So the koan is, our best effort is enlightenment. I don't get where effort comes in. Doing, I can do things, and I practice doing things without effort.
Well, immediately I had Suzuki Roshi's Not Always So. So that was my kind of initial response. But I was also thinking, who's doing and who's not doing?
That just feels like piling something onto the koan for me.
Probably is. I'm not going to answer your koan, am I?
Yeah, I didn't ask you to add to it though.
Yeah, because it's interesting. Yeah, what is effort? What is? So is there a word you trip over less, like intention?
Yes, in a way. Yes, our best effort, and what I feel to quite an extent is my practice at present, if not forever, is to align myself with my deepest intention.
What's your deepest intention?
To be aligned with the universe and what wants to happen, and to be grateful for that, whatever the universe brings.
Well, I guess sometimes that might look like effort.
Yeah, yes, yeah. Mm.
The other question that I had, and it's a question that I don't particularly expect you to answer, is how do you know if your intention is to be aligned? How do you know how do you know when and if you are?
Well, yeah, that's yes, all right. All right. I can only give it my best effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. That actually helps me, really helps me chew that koan. Yeah.
Oh, enjoy chewing.
I will, yeah. Because when I think of effort, I think of doing and working hard, but to see effort as just as often as possible, if not constant, certainly not constantly, but as often as possible, just asking a question, asking myself questions. Yeah. Mm.
Sounds great. And I was thinking about the my very, very limited knowledge of sailing, but my understanding is wind-driven boats are never on course. They're always course adjusting. It's like motorboats do it, but actually, if we're subject to the vagaries of the tide and the wind, moon, all of that state of the boat, then it's constant course adjustment.
That helps. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you,
And
John.
thank you again so much.
Hi, Shannon. There
Hello.
you go.
Good to see all of you. And thank you for your beautiful talk. I think it has many, many koans in it that my brain is expanding to try to meet. I think similar to what John was saying, I got grabbed by the very last thing that you said about being this, and I wonder maybe if you would repeat it, because I'm going to paraphrase it poorly, but something about being the center of the universe rather than thinking.
Stop thinking you're the center of the universe and be the center.
Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you my where I'm getting sort of thrown in circles around or have curiosity around it from what it brought up for me, but I would be very curious for you to expand on what that meant for you as well. So when I heard that, I have these, I feel like it's almost like a scale question for me. So I feel like I have a human sized universe of my house and my garden and my son and my soon to be husband and this sort of like small world that's around me that I can that I know I need to sort of, or my happiness is in kind of easing into that world. And then I come here every Tuesday from this chaotic world of work that's global and rewards me. Sort of the entire structure is around pushing and doing and creating action and movement and to what purpose, you know, who knows? To the bolder point, right? But I wonder, like, I wonder if there's, I don't feel, it's similar to this meeting, right? There's people from all over my meetings look exactly like this room, but they don't feel like this room. And I wonder, like, if there are ways to make that universe feel like my universe, I guess is where I'm going there.
So I was thinking there's something about which heart do you take? What heart is here, not head, you know, like your whole being, your heart, your intention, that you can bring to tending your family and the things you care about. And then there's other worlds that you're in that you're sent to less. It's like, you know, I can hear that kind of like, you know, and because they embody different values or different ideas about what's important to you. But there's something about how can you allow yourself to be this one in those settings, while taking all the necessary care that we need to take in a wider world. It's like, how do you keep assenting to your life, not someone else's? So I don't have an answer for how you do that, other than I'd love to know what that's going to look like.
No, I think that's I think that's right heart, the heart that you bring. What was your understanding from that, or what drew you to that last phrase?
Yeah, it came to me in the shower, which is clearly my favorite Dharma. It was something about that, you know, we think, caught in the self-centered dream, we think we're the center of the universe, you know, and whether we're too big, we're too small, you know, we're not good enough, whatever, we're kind of really tightly located in the middle of our universe. And then there's this other place, which is just like being in your world fully, just assenting to be, because when, you know, that harmonizing all being, you know, that thing we say in the verse of the robe is like, when I wear the universal teachings, it harmonizes all being, and we're in exactly the right place at the right time. But that isn't anything like so personal. So in a way, for me, practice is kind of decentering a bit. It's like, I'm really important and I'm really not.
Beautiful. Thank you for your wisdom today.
Lovely to share with you. Thank you. Hey, Cassie.
Hi, Judy. So John's koan just really started working on me. So I just
we teach each other, don't we?
yeah. So a bow to that for bringing that here, John. I appreciate it. And so I was thinking about effort, and then my backward step with effort, like what's behind that, and like I took like some little notes because I figured that this was like something important to me, so it would immediately go away.
Good managers.
that effort was singular. And you know that it had a striving to it. It had a drive, and it had something that was, you know, how we talked about best. You know, I think that it was us that was talking about best, and yeah. And then if I had effort, but I changed how I was relating with effort to engagement. Like,
Mm.
yeah.
Oh, John's just gone, oh. That works for him too.
And that effort was, you know, that engagement was then, like, you know, obviously because they're nodding, is that it's together, and that the effort part of engagement is constantly being refueled. So like the singular effort can get depleted and I can be exhausted, but when that same activity is through engagement, that it doesn't seem to get, there doesn't seem to be a crash after.
Doesn't feel like that engagement has a finish line.
Yeah.
So there's the effort that has the get to wherever,
Right.
whatever, wherever, and it has a finish line. But engagement is your life's activity.
Yeah.
And I guess sometimes it's an effort, as in, making ourselves turn up on time or doing something like that. But how do we engage? How do we fully engage as much as, Flint's gorgeous 20% of our 100%, can we give 100% of our 20%? Is like, can we engage as much as we can at this moment?
Yeah, because I also seem to like really need alone time. Like if I'm with people a bunch, then I'm also, there's a crash with that too.
Yeah. Hello. If I do any of those little tests, I'm what they call an ambivert, which means my sort of outward side goes, give me people, and then I get people, and my inward side goes, oh dear God, enough already, so it's kind of like finding that balance of connection and space.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Francis. Yeah, there you are.
You just so beautifully expressed today a lot of the things that I've been working with, and I consider some of those revelations just maybe a gift of aging. That realizing that many people have walked this path, and many will after me, and I am just part of that being, and not so, hate to say not so special, because we are special, and in our role here, but
in our particularity, in our particularity,
yeah,
like Francis will never happen again.
Yeah,
Trudy will never happen.
That's right. In our nutshell, it's real. We are important, and what we do is important, and how we live is important. But when you get that, it's so hard to find words for it. But when you really see that overall, it's just all, we're all just traveling and being. And so anyway, you expressed it really well. It's difficult to get that idea across. That I thought your photographs that you had, when you just realize, you start seeing the depth of images and people and time, the lapse of time. It used to feel very sad to me to have that realization, and now there is a comfort in it, and freedom in that, and so much company. I mean, we just are not special in that respect. The other thing that struck me was one of the things I personally struggle with is not doing. I'm very good at not doing, but I'm not good at not feeling guilty about not doing. And so I do consider a day, when I look at my calendar and I have nothing on it, my soul just rejoices. It's just a wonderful day. But then there's that little part of me that thinks I'm missing out because that part of that's the culture I live in, and I have a lot of young people that I'm around all the time. But anyway, those two things today were important parts of what you said to me, and I always enjoy so much listening to you and relate well to your spirit.
Thank you. Thank you. It's lovely to see you. And yeah, take care of the guilty bear.
Working on productivity.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trudy.
I'm really aware Penelope had a question, and we're kind of at the edge of time. I don't know if you want to do a minute with me, Penelope.
There. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, good. I just wanted to thank you for when you said sometimes you were grumpy along the way, because I know you're an artist. I'm an artist. Cassie's an artist. And we all spoke to that thing that, like your happiest place is when you're on your true path. But there's always this point of resistance that you want to resist the very thing that's the most wonderful for you. And I love the way you touched on that and developed a path. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, well. So thank you all for being here. And let's say the 4 practice principles together, and really notice the way in which being caught in the self-centered dream really does cause suffering. So let's say that together. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering, holding to self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher, being just this moment, compassion's way. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering, holding to self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher, being just this moment, compassion's way. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering, holding to self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher, being just this moment, compassion's way. Thank you all so much for being here, and I'll hand over to Maria for on the porch. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Trudy, for travelling all the way across those oceans to be with us. It's been so lovely, and thank you. I feel so settled after that talk, reminding me to rest amongst it all, rest in the doing, and that constantly dropping body and mind again and again, just to be here amongst it and with it. And so thank you so much, Trudy. Thank you, and thank you all of you that came forward, and all of you that are here holding this space. Thank you all so much. And if you'd like to offer dana to Trudy, then please do go to justthiszen.org/giving, and you'll find a place to offer dana there. And if you'd like to continue for a 30-minute further, I'm getting my words muddled up now, and he's me saying I'm resting in the moment. If you'd like to continue for a further 30 minutes, pop yourself into gallery and I'll be with you in just a moment. Thank you all so much. Thank you.